How's it going, everyone? Jacob Dupre here. Today, I've got the Nord Grand 2. It's the second generation of the Nord Grand, and it has further refined the playing experience in terms of the keybed response and feel. It's got new and updated features for sound design and real-time control, features a kawaii responsive hammer action keybed with triple sensors that's been improved. I personally really like the way that it feels. As a pianist at heart, it makes me feel right at home. There are some exciting new features on the Grand 2, some of which come from the Nord Stage 4, which of course is Nord's top-of-the-line instrument for the performing artist, and a lot of those features have been added here, now making this instrument more for the live player. Some of the exciting things in the sections, you have the piano engine and the sample synth. There's now 4 layers, so you can have 4 sounds total, 2 in piano, 2 from the sample synth. You can also have an independent effects chain for each one. So you can be setting effects here on the right side, and you have a complete independent set of effects. You can see they're all switching. You can also switch here. So that's one exciting new thing. You can set them to global or per chain. Let's listen to a few sounds. Here's one of the presets that's already in there. It's called Pearl Drops. It's using a Pearl upright. It's also got an EP layer and a saw pad, a sweet saw pad. I like that little delay that's on there. I can hear that. Yep, that'll be the ping pong. And so again, at any point, if I want to see what effects I have, I can switch here. So piano B, I can also turn these layers off if I want to focus just on this layer. So that has a really high wet value over there. So I'm not actually getting my strike at all. I can bring it back. So there's the delay. Actually, ping pong's not on. That's just the regular delay. But that's one of the new things. There are ping pongs. Ping pong 1, 2, 3. You can flip it off really fast. Put it back on. Again, that's why Nord's so cool. A few more sounds just to go through, and I'm going to show you some of my favorite new effects, because there are some new effects. I mentioned the ping pong. That's a new thing over there. There's also some cool ones over here in Mod 1 that I want to show you. I'm going to find a really nice EP sound here. This is EP9, Stockholm. That's the setting. Also over here, just quickly, you can go through the different sounds. This way you have the categories: grand, upright, electric, cloud, digital, miscellaneous sounds. Then in the sample synth, similar thing, you have category, and you can go through the different samples. So I could say, okay, maybe I want to try a different EP sound. I could try a Wurlitzer, any of the great sounds that are in here. So here's this sound. So this effect that's on here is called spin. I'll give you a little demo. So it's a rotary speaker type emulator, and you can hear the rate of it speeding up just like a Leslie would do, that kind of sound. And you have a rate and amount knob for all of those effects. I just really like that one. It's really beautiful on EP sounds too. Here's wah. Love that. And I should mention, if you have control pedal on here, you can actually use a pedal. If you have an expression pedal plugged into the control pedal input, you can control that from there. So just like I'm doing here, you could still be playing and do that with the pedal underneath. That's another really great thing that makes this better for live players. Going on to Mod 2, there's one called Vibe that's really nice. Vibe, V-I-B-E, that comes from the Stage 4 as well. which can get really extreme if you want. You got equalizer, the amp. Oh, that's great. It makes me feel like a guitar player. You've got small, JC, and twin. All of them have been, well, the JC, I believe the small and the JC have been updated. They have some tweaks to them. The small in particular, it's got this alt tone setting that can give you more of like kind of a radio sound. See, it's like really that kind of vintagey radio sound. The EPs are beautiful on here. Of course, there's more than that. You have the sample synth section that has many great sounds. And we've got layers here in the categories. You've got everything from guitars, orchestral instruments, the strings. The strings, one of the cool new additions to the sound library is the Spitfire strings. Spitfire, of course, is known for having great orchestral software, some of the best sounding ones out there. And you now have that as a sound in the sample synth. The thing I like the most about that sound is that I can be expressive. I can play it like an instrument. But in the sample synth section, you have control over that. You have dynamics. This dynamics button here will allow you to do this. So if it's off, like it is right now, it's operating more like a synth. So even if I dig in a little bit, I'm getting the same volume. I'm getting the same kind of sound out. But if I crank up the dynamic all the way to 3, now I can be more expressive and really play it in the dynamic way that you'd want strings to sound. But just to show you, say I've got the strings up, I want to add a piano layer. It's just this easy. I can go to Grand. I can say, how about the Grand Imperial? And of course, the LED faders. Can be bringing sounds in and out if I want to, or just simply setting a good balance to make a preset. There's been some changes to the piano engine. One of those is the addition of dynamic compression. And what this does is reduce the dynamic range of the piano sounds in terms of the level, but not when it comes to the timbre of it. So what it's doing basically is raising the level of the softer strokes, more so with higher kind of settings, which is going to be useful if you want to have a really even performance. And I'll just briefly show you what that does. Here's the white Grand, the first preset. And say I was playing maybe something that was kind of a more pop-oriented part, maybe something kind of like... So I was kind of purposely, but also that might be how I'd play it, I was purposely kind of digging in a little bit more. But if I were to switch dynamic compression on all the way to its most extreme, to 3, hear how the attack is much more even. I'm getting consistently higher velocities there. So even if I dig in, or even if I don't play as loud, it's still a little bit more close. So it's a more level performance. Turning it off again. See, I can go from very loud to pretty soft, but it's just evening it out. So if you have a part that, maybe you want to stand out a little bit more, you want it to be a little bit more even, it's great to have that control. Also, it might just fit your playing style. We all play differently. Some of us may play a little heavier, some a little lighter, and it's just another thing that gives you a way to make the keyboard respond in the way you want it to your playing. You also, next to that, have keyboard touch. You have light, normal to heavy on that, and that's another way that you can set the way that it responds to your playing. You also have Unison, which adds stereo width and vibrance to the piano sound, adding voices from other notes. Just briefly show you that. I really want to play a honky-tonk kind of piano on that sound because it just sounds good. Yeah, that's a lot of fun. Getting a taste of some more of the sounds, specifically what we've got in Sample Synth. This one's got an organ layer along with a synth pad as well. And then you've got a Wurlitzer sound underneath. So you can hear there's a bit of glide going on there. You now have 3 options for glide. 2. So a longer time. New also is you now have mono and legato options in addition to a default poly mode. So for anything in the Sample Synth, you can play as a chord. Pretty gnarly. But I can go to legato or mono. So those additions make this, again, a little better for the live player. You know, somebody that obviously wants great sounding pianos, EPs, different classic keyboard sounds. But in this synth section now, if you want to go for a lead synth, you want to do something, you've got more settings there for that. So let's say I wanted to pick a lead synth sound. I've got layer A here. Go to synth lead. I really like that sound. Within Sample Synth, there is vibrato that can be set to on for instant effect or to delay, which will allow for choosing a desired time for the vibrato to kick in. So maybe I want to play a lead synth sound. Just get up layer A, go to lead synth, synth lead. Find one I like, vibrato on. And change to delay. Very easy. But something else about vibrato that's important I want to tell you about is even if you don't have it on, you have a dedicated vibrato button over here, and when enable is on, you can actually use that to trigger the vibrato when you want to, so you can perform with it. Which is great for adding a little expression. With the Nord Grand 2, there's been some updates to the pedals that you get. There is now a new continuous sustain and triple pedals that are included. So when you have the Nord Triple Pedal 2 or the Single Pedal 2, both of them will have continuous sensors for improved control and have a new design in general. So for any of you really dedicated pianists out there, like myself, being a pianist at heart, this is now going to give you the opportunity to do some half pedaling, some half damping kind of techniques. That's the kind of thing that you really want with an instrument. That's supposed to feel acoustic and right. And especially for those of you that are playing classical music, that kind of repertoire, you will appreciate that new function. Also with the pedals, you can actually set the una corda and sostenuto pedals to be switchers for the programs. So just like I've been going through the programs with the knob here, you can actually use the pedals to do that. So if you have a set list, you have all your presets in there organized for your gig, your show, you can be changing sounds and keep your hands on the keyboard. But if you wanted to keep those pedals the way that they are originally, like what you'd find on a piano, you can, and use the dedicated foot switch pedal, which you can insert in the foot switch jack, and then you can change sounds that way. There's also been some updates to the software that goes with the Nord instruments. There's the sound manager and also the sample editor. And with those latest updates, there's some cool new features. Like for instance, the sound manager is what you use to get sounds on and off the board. So if you want to back up your presets, put them on your computer, take it somewhere else in the world, put it on a Nord over there, you can do it. If you want to go the other way and be looking for new sounds to put into the piano, to put into the sample synth, you can do all of that. And the Nord website has a great selection of sounds in all the different categories that you can browse from. But one of the cool new things about it is that you can do that all within the app now. So rather than having to go to Nord Keyboards to go to the website, which of course you could still do, you can just browse for new sounds within the app. And I personally find that really cool. And with the sample editor, you can now record sounds straight into the software. Of course, you can drag audio files in and then map them to the keyboard, create pitch detection instruments where you take one sample and it will match it to all the keys, but you can just record straight in, which is really cool. Also, don't forget about the accessories you can get with Nord keyboards. You can get the wood base that you see here that's optional, but you can get that for the Grand 2. It looks great. It would be great in the living room, at home. Of course, it would look great on stage too, houses of worship, you name it. It's a really slick look. You can also get the piano monitors that can attach here, and it gives you a really beautiful near field experience. Actually, the founder of Nord, the creator himself, he designed these specifically, and they're made to make grand piano sounds really shine. So those are awesome. You can get the Nord bag, you can get an attachable music stand. Don't miss out on these accessories. That's the Nord Grand 2. If you've got any questions about it, please call your Sweetwater sales engineer. They'll be happy to help you. Thanks so much for watching.